Hello, hello. I got nothing working here. Nothing working. Sorry, everybody. I lost the stream and trying to get her going here again. But I think maybe this is just not meant to be. 'Cause now I can't get my iPad working either. Dragonlair, hello. Okay, we got things working again here. Sorry about that, everybody. I kicked us out of the stream by accident. Wasn't meaning to do that. What I was trying to do was get my mobile phone off of the stream because it was creating the feedback. I could hear it. So, but anyways, Dragonlair, these are the ancestors there. We got a pretty good view of them right now. It looks better too, eh? That's them. And you know what? They're just happy. I'm not in a rush for these guys. They'll lay eggs when they're ready to lay eggs. They have a couple of cave choices there. That's all the cave choices I'm going to give them. And I'm very sure that they will do it soon enough. They receive an excellent diet. They receive excellent food. So that's why they do have good growth. And like I said, I'm not in a rush for eggs. Whenever they decide to lay eggs, that's when it'll happen. You can't rush these things. Maybe a little buried antelope, I don't know. But they're happy. I guess what I do feed them is they eat a lot of zucchini. They eat a lot of zucchini. As you've seen on the other cam, when I had the cam on the 180, like I feed huge chunks of zucchini to my ancestors. They gorge it down. I don't blanch it, nothing. I just put it in raw on a fork. And besides the zucchini, they do get a bit of cichlid pellets ground up into smaller pieces. And they get bug bites, Northfin Bug Pro. I do put, like I said, a little bit of protein into their diet as well. But the majority of it is plant matter, plant-based foods for them. Not to mention all the algae and biofilm they clean out of that tank themselves. The only other inhabitants in this tank is there is 3 Amano shrimp in here. And there is 1 female Amano shrimp that is always buried with eggs, always full of eggs. So I've actually been debating on pulling her out and seeing if I can raise some Amano shrimp babies, but that would be a challenge for another day. It's quite challenging, I believe. So that's those guys there. See, we got a couple of people back in. Other than that, shrimp are doing great. Maybe I can try this again, and I'll see if I can get this camera on the Blue Bolt shrimp, because the Blue Bolt shrimp are doing absolutely great. Clownfish babies, if anybody's interested, the clownfish babies are doing fantastic actually. Really, I couldn't be any happier with how they're turning out. Nicole and I are gonna probably, we already started picking out our favorites because we're gonna keep a couple of pairs out of them. We're gonna actually start picking out the ones we're gonna keep very shortly, and that'll be extremely exciting to do as well. You do green beans, zucchini, and bug bites. They do eat the extreme spirulina that settles on the bottom too. Mine I agree with all the above statements you've made in this, but it's funny how some foods work better in some people's rooms than they do in others. And one food isn't better than the other. It's maybe just how, I don't know, what your fish are used to, maybe, because I've never fed green beans like on a regular basis. But when I did feed them, they weren't always too interested in them. But that's maybe because I might have been so used to getting zucchini and other foods. So I do all the above. I do not have the extreme spirulina, but I do make my own spirulina food, and I feed them that quite a bit as well. But yeah, a lot of bug bites and a lot of spirulina. Spirulina is like the food for it. Now, that fish is going out of the picture right now. I should have started this statement a minute ago, unless she decides to start cleaning her way back in front of us again. I wanted to point something out that you don't see on a lot of Ancestris these days. But you can see it on the guy that just went on to the cave, now moving. Now you can't see a little bit, I guess. Maybe it'll come right up to us here. He's not as good of a specimen as the other one that I was going to point out. But it looks like it's going to come back in the screen. Maybe not. Anyways, I'm talking about the fins. I'm talking about the front dorsal fins. And this is something that I've been looking at in a lot of fish. I look at other people's fish, I look at my fish. I look at basically everything that's available. And to try and get nice straight dorsal fins on these Ancestris is really hard. But not the second fish that came into the screen back there, but the first one. I was going to point out, and I don't know if any of you noticed, here we go, that's not the one I'm talking about. But that's not bad, but there is still quite a curve in the fins, front dorsal fins, when it just went by. But the other, I believe to be a female, that went by earlier, hers were exceptionally straight. There was no, and when I say straight, how do I explain it? When I say straight, I'm talking, like they'll obviously have a curve to them. But what you don't want is a curve to them. A nice gentle curve, but not a swerve, we'll call it. And a lot of them these days have swerves. Some of mine have swerves. That one that I was just talking about had a little bit of a swerve to it. But the female that I saw go by before that did not have a swerve at all. It was just an extremely gentle curve. And when I see that, that tells me that that is one I want to keep as a breeder, because that fish has some qualities I'm looking at keeping going, whereas the swervy front fins don't have. Now, here he is right here. See, it's got a bit of a swerve. It's not terrible. They're not bent. They're not clamped in. But it's got a little bit of a swerve to it. And that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for just a nice gentle curve on the fins. Fried my chocolate bien. I raised from a half-inch baby loves green beans and zucchini. Yeah, that's like I said. I think it's what you've got them going on. Mine again. I just don't feed a lot of green beans, so mine aren't used to it. But spinach is another good choice for a food for Ancestris. I think basically, from what I've seen, and I'm just gonna talk about like your general, not a breeder, but just your general public Ancestris owner, whether it's a long fin, short fin, brown, purple with blue polka dots, or whatever. But your average Ancestris owner doesn't even feed them. So I think if you're feeding them basically anything, you're already a step up on most people. They're not extremely picky. They will eat just about anything. But if you can get some more vegetable-based stuff into them, it's better for them, most definitely. But and yes, if you're gonna get spinach for them, just get the frozen spinach. It works best. Uh, what I do with it is I defrost it and then I squish it almost into like a little cube. That gets all the air out of it, and it'll sink, and they'll gnaw away at that until there's nothing left. Again, it might be something that they're not used to, so it might take them a little bit to get used to eating that food, but once they do, they seem to like it. So, how about we have a little look? Let's have a little look at the blue bolt shrimp, because I've been absolutely loving the way they've been turning out. Just gonna turn my computer around so I can see what people are saying. Here we go. And we shouldn't even have feedback this time. I think what I have to do, hopefully, is don't get dizzy. I have to take this camera off the tripod. Look at my beautiful ceiling. Okay. Here is our Blue Bolt tank. Look at some of these guys have turned out absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. Sorry for my shaky hand. We got lots of little babies. Still a couple of young pluckos in there too, Ancestris. But these are our Blue Bolts. There's a couple in here I'm especially interested in. Ones that look like that one right there, front and center. That's a very cool looking shrimp. I don't remember all the names of all the different grades of Blue Bolt and whatnot, but I know I like that one. And there's another one in here. There it is, on the plant. Tell me that's not a cool looking shrimp. Again, that's like my favoriteest in the tank. Red eyes and all. So if anybody could tell me what that shrimp's actually called, that's a blue metal. I don't think that's a Blue Bolt, but we'll see. And some of them turned out not so good. Some of them turned out like white and black almost. Like that guy back there. Hard to see, but that guy right there. Some of them, they don't look so good. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with all the different colors I'm getting. See that? That's a red bolt. We got a red bolt somehow as well. So yeah, this is a boring shrimp tank. There's really nothing in here. Just shrimp. A few plants. That's it. Sponge filter in the back. And Amazonia ADA for a substrate. Now this tank here, if any of you remember, if any of you were involved with the, we called it the subscriber aquascape, where you guys helped me aquascape this tank. Well, here it is. It's still going. And what we did with this tank was we just threw in a whole bunch of shrimp, all different kinds in this tank, and one of them is buried. There are some little baby plecos in here as well, Ancestris, but there are quite a few shrimp in here. Some are hiding. There's one back there. I don't know if you can see them yet. A couple of them there, but they're all the way at the back. This tank is quite deep. Some back there. there's literally a little bit of everything in here. So it'll be really neat to see what the little shrimplets come out like. But there's definitely some cool looking shrimp in here. And I think the tank actually looks pretty nice. It's a pretty nice looking tank as it's maturing. I've trimmed it back several times. But yeah, that's the subscriber scaped tank. Here we have a crystal red tank. These guys are crazy. I've actually had to make 2 crystal red tanks. I have one here and I have one here. So these guys have actually had some shrimplets in here since I put them in. There's one right there, little wee feller. But there's a few in there. There's a few. I guess there's probably about 60 shrimp in this tank or so. And this tank that they came out of, they used to be in this tank with all these shrimp. Look at that. There's still over 100 shrimp in this tank. Easily. Easily over 100 shrimp in there. So, yeah, we've done really well with the crystal reds, that's for sure. Little moss ball, all kinds of plants. I think the plants help a lot with the water quality. This tank, it stays cloudy a lot. And I think that's just because of just so much bio load on it. So much. I did a water change on it yesterday, and I do it quite frequently on this tank just because of the huge bio load on it. Anyways, this tank here, this is my Red King Kong tank. These guys, I did a water change on them today, and they do this every time I do a water change. Fly all over the tank. There's not a ton of shrimp in this tank. I've had problems with this tank, and that's why it's so bare. I took everything out, kind of restarted again. But there is a very buried female at the back. I believe that's her on the sponge filter there, just crawling underneath it. But she's extremely buried. So we should have a bunch of little shrimplets in this tank again soon too. So that'll be nice. And that's about as far as I can go. We can see this is another shrimp tank. I just did a video on this tank actually. This is the Lego Shark Tank, and it's got our Black King Kongs in it. Now, that one is beautiful Black King Kong. They don't all look like that, so don't get the wrong impression. A lot of them have a lot of white in them. That's a beautiful, beautiful King Kong right there. But there's a few babies in this tank now. It's a beautiful tank. The only thing I've really got to do to it is paint the background. But yeah, it's a pretty beautiful tank. All right, give me 1 sec to just kind of reset here for a minute. I think what I'm going to do is just put it back here. All right. There we go. Anyway, so that's a little tour of the shrimp rack. I don't know what you guys thought of the shrimp rack, but yeah, it's been going pretty good lately. The shrimp, sorry, I was just petting Roscoe here while we're talking. He likes to hang out underneath the computer table here while we're doing this. Your black rows are throwing some blues. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dragonlair. Are black rows not Neocaridina? I believe they are. Or at least there are some that are called. Okay, Roscoe, lay down. At least there's some that are called Neocaridina ones. But if they're throwing blues, yeah, there's obviously maybe a little something else in there. I don't know. And shrimp are so weird too, because shrimp, like, people just did the same thing. They just crossed a whole bunch of shrimp to make a whole bunch of different color shrimp. And quite frankly, out of every shrimp colony that I have, the only one that throws true, absolutely 100% true, would be my Crystal Reds. The Crystal Reds throw true. They are graded. I forget how they use the terminology. I guess they'd be number 2 select. No entry. They don't have a good saddle entry. They're not. That just basically means they're not Misuras or anything fancy like that. But they are select number 2. So they're very, very nice. But every single one comes out exactly the same, which is very cool because the rest of my shrimp do not do that. My Black King Kongs, they don't come out all black. Sometimes they have some blue in them. My Red King Kongs throw Black King Kongs. My Blue Bolts threw a Red Bolt. So yeah, I think things have been mixed up with them so much. Most lines don't throw true. Perfect. Yeah, mine, they love Repashy. They love it. I don't know if they love it any more than they love zucchini or anything else, so that's for sure. But I think I'm going to pack her up for today. I just wanted to check in, see how everybody was doing. So I'm not doing a long live stream. There's not a whole lot of questions coming in. I do see there's one more here from Dragonlair. It hasn't come up to my big screen yet, but it says, I really don't know which one they are. I just bought 6 that were sold as Black Rose. Oh, there. I was under the impression they were a cross of red and blue. Very well could be. Very well could be. I have not personally kept Black Rose. I have a friend that keeps Black Rose, and they didn't make the strain. They bought them as Black Rose, and they just bred for them. But I'm not sure. Yeah, it makes sense. It might be a cross between a red and a blue. So, yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I guess if you want to keep that strain the same, then you have to call very hard and really keep perfect specimens. So everybody, I'm going to call it a wrap. You guys take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Take care for now.